Hello, my name is Paul Beauchemin. I'm going to talk to you today about the double your leads or half your marketing cost system for attorneys. And our guarantee is that we'll reduce your cost of client acquisition by 50% within 90 days or double your current lead volume at the same price, or our service is free. Now, that means we'll continue to work for you with no management fee. Now, you may think this is unbelievable and I don't want to listen any further. But the reason you think that is because most of the time, what most people do with marketing is they think in terms of marketing tactics and they have no overall strategy as to how to go about creating and executing a full marketing strategy. They may look at Yelp or FindLaw or Avo, or they may put up a website or have a business card, but they don't have an overall strategy. And so what we have is a comprehensive internet marketing strategy, which I'm going to explain over the next few minutes. So our first step is we go way back to the beginning and we focus on one niche area of law. You may practice many areas of law, but your website may have all those things. But the problem is that if you try to speak to everybody, you speak to nobody. And so what we want to do is position you in one niche at a time, and we can execute this in other niches later on. But first, focus on what it is that makes you the most money. And we'll talk about the 80-20 principle in a second. And what this does, by focusing on one area, it reduces your advertising spend, increases your conversion rate, and increases the number of referrals you get because you get to be positioned as an expert. So what area of law should you focus on? The way you should think about this is what we call the 80-20 principle. 80-20 was developed by an economist in Italy named Pareto, and he figured out that 20% of the people had 80% of the money, which has always been true and always will be true. But this same curve can be applied to any business. 20% of your clients will produce 80% of your revenue. And you're going to probably most people spend 80% of their time working with the 20% of the least profitable clients. And so, by getting you to switch your business around from working with those 80% that don't produce the most to the 20% that do, we can create a really great return on investment. It's a winning strategy for you because it's going to give you more time and create more profitability for your firm. And if you do this properly, you'll be able to buy as much traffic as you desire to expand your firm, limited only by your capacity to deliver, because you will be so far ahead of all your competitors. Almost nobody really understands this, and this is really critical to understand. So once we define your ideal client, we want to know not only the demographics of that client, but the psychographics of the ideal client. In other words, what are their concerns, problems? What is the conversation going on in their mind? A guy named Robert Collier coined that phrase, the conversation going on in the mind of your ideal client. Everybody's got this little talking voice that when they have a problem, they talk about to themselves constantly in the head. And you want to speak directly to that conversation so that when they see your ads, your landing pages, your copy, they say, oh, that guy, that lady, they're talking about me. They must have, talked to my wife, my husband, or my friend about my problem because they know me so well. And when you can execute your copywriting on your website, your landing pages, your ads, your business card even, so well, this is going to increase your conversion rate. And it's also going to increase something called quality score, which we'll talk about later. So we want to figure out who your ideal client is, what their demographics are, and what their psychographics are. And when we do that, we're going to create what we call landing pages. And if you ever looked at great marketing online, go to websites like Geico. Look for auto insurance and click on a Geico ad. And what you find is Geico will never send their traffic to a website. They send it to a very simple landing pages where they can focus on just the visitor taking one action. And that's all we want them to do, is take one action, contact you, call you. And landing pages deliver about 12 times higher conversion rate than a website ever can deliver, okay? Because there's no navigation links, there's no place for them to get lost. And the benefit to you is you're going to increase your conversion rate, reduce your cost of client acquisition. So what we do is we execute, based on this ideal client and the languaging that we developed, a landing page for each specific problem. And so if you have personal injury, you may have 10 different landing pages for each separate, whether it's medical problems, whether it's birth injuries, whether it's auto accidents, truck accidents, motorcycle accidents, medical malpractice. Every one of those may have a very specific landing page specifically talking about that problem. Now, we use Google AdWords because when we want to start with attorneys, we want to be able to measure, and get some real numbers and not just have guesswork about what may work or what might not work. A lot of people hire search engine optimization, SEO firms, and they say, okay, put me on the top of Google. And if you really have no idea what people are searching for, that's not a good strategy. I have a client that, did that. He paid FindLaw, princely sum for a website, and he bought SEO services, and he paid for Yelp and Avo and everything. And he branded himself as a bad faith attorney. And so what we did when he became a client for us, we tested several different landing pages, insurance, disability attorney, disability attorneys. And what we found is that the only people searching for bad faith attorneys were probably other attorneys or people that were legal minded. That's kind of an inside language. Almost nobody was searching for bad faith attorneys. They were searching for insurance disabilities. And the year prior to working with us, he had gotten nothing, no cases from his internet work because he had the wrong language and on his website, and all his advertising, everything was something that people weren't looking for. And so, he was able to create in a short time 7 figures worth of cases. So why Google? Google's the world's most powerful source of high quality traffic, and Google search results show ads first. They don't show organic results anymore. The top 4 results are all ads, and then they have some Google My Business, map listings. And being at the top 4 positions is where 65% of the search traffic is. It's 80% of search traffic. 65% of search traffic is mobile, and mobile users don't even see organic results. So if you want to be seen on Google, you have to be in AdWords. The other thing about AdWords, the reason we use it is because we can track how well you're doing with what keywords work, what ad copy works, what landing pages work. We can do a lot of tracking. When we set up Google AdWords, we set up with keywords that have commercial intent. They're designed for good quality score. Google's told us that 2/3 of people click on ads are ready to buy. They're targeting actual buyers. So we don't use a lot of keywords. Google will recommend 5,000 keywords, and we found you only need a very small number of key critical commercial intent keywords. And with Google, as I mentioned, we can track, and we use dynamic call tracking as well as other tracking services to make sure we understand, what the search term was, what caused somebody to call, and what caused someone to become a client. We track that all the way, and Google has really got the best system to do that. Before Google, you had to do it by hand. It was enormously difficult, and nobody did it. And you can't do it with TV advertising or any other advertising. Despite what the salespeople tell you, it just can't be done as well as it can through Google. And if you want to do SEO, you want to figure out what search terms people are using before you waste a lot of money with SEO. And Google AdWords is a way to do that. I mentioned quality score. Why do we want to have the language of the ads and the language on the landing page all match the problem that people are searching for? Well, one of the reasons is because we get good conversions. But another reason is because it's going to reduce the cost and get your ad shown more. Google used a system called quality scoring, where they match the keyword to the copy of your ad and your landing page. And the better your quality score, it goes from 1 to 10. The higher on the page your ad is shown, the cheaper the cost per click is, and the more often your ad is shown. And this is because Google wants their search people to have a great experience. And the more closely related the search term is to what they experience, the better they're going to reward you. It's a very incentivized program. The next thing we do is we set up what's called retargeting. So prospects see your ad many times. Repetition works. And you may not have everybody that comes to your website or your landing page, be ready to buy you now. But by setting up retargeting, retargeting means a cookie is put in the visitor's browser. It says they surf around the internet, they're exposed to your ads over and over again. And what happens is the cost per click when they click on a retargeting ad in the Google Display Network or Facebook is about 1/10 the cost of a typical keyword in the legal market space. So your cost of client acquisition drops dramatically. And this is how we can make the dramatic promise that I talked about at the very beginning. Cutting your cost of acquisition in half is because, if we can show your ads for pennies to people that are already in the market searching for you or have already visited you, your acquisition cost goes way down and your acquisition rate goes up. So once we start retargeting to people that have already come to your ads, Google inside their display network create a similar audience, and this can broaden your reach, and we can target Google display ads throughout the Google network. And there's 100 million websites that your ads can be shown on. And so we want to target people, because Google knows what people have been looking for. They keep a record of all the websites that your target ideal client has been on. And so consequently, they know if you're going to, let's say you do foreclosure. Well, if you go to another website that's about foreclosure, they can show your ad to that foreclosure prospect. The same thing is on Facebook. Facebook Pixel, we put that on your landing page, your website. Facebook, there's 133 million users log in every day. In the evening when you're advertising on TV, there may be 40 million people in the US watching TV, 100 million on Facebook. So, and after Facebook, YouTube is also a great place to expose your firm to a very target audience. And YouTube is even cheaper than Facebook in terms of cost per click. So you can retarget everywhere and build a target audience. Facebook also allows us to build what they call a lookalike audience, similar, which is like Google's calls a similar audience, but these are people in the same market looking for the same things. Facebook is very, very powerful for that. In certain types of law, we also can create Facebook advertising campaigns because Facebook knows more about your prospects than anything else, even the NSA. They know they are in alignment with big data financial groups, so they know not only the financial metrics of your ideal clients, but they know the behaviors and interests. They know all the pages people like and their buying behavior. And so if you're in certain legal markets, for example, estate planning is a great one, you can target your ideal clients of Facebook much better than you can on any other type of media if people are not searching for you. Once you have your system in place and you're starting to get data and you have real knowledge, you want to optimize your website. We use the Golden Glove method, and what this is, it has 5 parts to it. You call out the desperate problem of your ideal prospect, your unique promise, your overwhelming proof, like testimonials, your irresistible offer, which is usually a consultation, or if it's a case of personal injury, you work until free until they get the money, and then the reason to act now. And oftentimes those are all left out. People may put up a phone number, they're afraid to ask for people to act now. So we want to optimize your website, because there's no point in paying to send people to a website if you want to spend money on search engine optimization unless that website converts. And so we want to have the highest possible conversion. And you also want to have those 5 elements, what we call above the fold. In other words, before people have to scroll, because we know from tracking data, there's all kinds of heat maps, that people are looking in the top half of the page. They're not scrolling down the page. And this is especially true with phones and mobile traffic. So once your website is optimized, we know from Google AdWords what keywords work. We can do SEO and focus on the local maps listing, where after AdWords, the maps listing is where a lot of organic results are going to come from. So the advantage of all this is you don't have to game the Google system and you avoid getting blacklisted by Google for poor SEO practices. So I hope this made sense to you. If you want to talk more about how we can create a marketing system for your law practice that can dominate your local area, give me a call at 888-344-0434 or schedule a consultation at meetme.so/Paul Beauchemin. Look forward to talking with you soon.